Hey, Bikeaholics, Zero 3D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. These guys ride and support riders just like you. That's right. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/Ciro, CIRO. Don't forget we are a Ciro distributor right in our store, lawabidingbiker.com/store. Just ride up and over beautiful mountains, along rivers, lazy curves, out and over golden straits, these beautiful sights, my visual fate, winds pounding and pelting away at my soul, that massaging and cleansing while I ride, my goal. And every breath sustaining my life is seasoned sweetly with nature's own spice. Alone with thought on this endless pave, but far from lonely, hence a wave. From another new brother or sister to be, out on their Harley, spirits so free. Live to ride and ride to live, and of yourself to others give. Ride through the rain, ride in the sun, just ride, 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 until your ass says you're done. Traceable, Yakima, Washington. Tracy, Traceable Allen. Props to her. And now, straight from the Law Abiding Biker Media Studio,
out of sunny Yakima, Washington,
we bring you another episode of the
#1 listen to motorcycle podcast.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
Get out of my head.
Get out of my head. Pay attention, Bikeaholics. You really need to listen to this episode. We have got a ton of information for you guys. If you're insured, which hopefully you're insured, there's a lot of miscommunication out there about what your motorcycle insurance covers. What happens, Lurch, if you were to go down? What happens if it's your fault? What happens if it's not your fault? What happens if somebody hits you?
We're going to talk about all that and so much more.
And they're uninsured. Thank you. I'm telling you guys, we have learned a lot. You may be misinformed. We were misinformed.
I was.
We have come to the light, so to speak, and realized the problems with motorcycle insurance and the lack of coverage there. You may think you're covered.
I thought I was.
Lurch thought he was. Wasn't covered as much as he thought he was. We've got a lot of different experiences, a lot of different things. We've done our research. We've done our homework. And we're going to bring that to you. This is a must listen to episode. You should immediately, when you're done, check in, call your insurance agent. We'll give you a lot of tips on what to ask to figure out if you are covered and what happens should the worst happen, which is the worst. Going down, getting hit by a cage, having a deer run out in front of you.
That could happen.
You know, all that kind of stuff, guys. Anyways, we've got you covered in this episode, so definitely stay tuned. Hey, Bikeaholics and listeners alike, the show is still going strong because of a lot of hard work and your support, of course. Thanks to all those loyal listeners and true friends of the show that have supported us or are supporting us. For less than a coffee a month, you can help support us too and put a little fuel in the law-abiding biker gas tank to make sure this show keeps moving on down the road. So, calling all law-abiding bikers, head over to our Patreon page and take action today. You can do so at lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. Oh, did I mention there's benefits too? From all your friends at lawabidingbiker.com, we appreciate each and every one of you. God bless and ride safe. All right, Lurch, Big
Yes.
Daddy.
Yes.
Brian, let's do this thing. Feel it.
Oh, I feel it.
That's right. Welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as the
99%.
large and in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in motorcycle history. That's right. We are here to be heard. We have the platform by listening, by being here, by being involved. You are part of what we call
The biker revolution.
whether you like it or not. That's right. Join it. Make a decision. That's right. Life is about decisions.
Just got to string a few good ones together in a row.
That is right. Lurch in the house, of course. All right, guys, before we get started, we do just have one question for you.
What are you waiting for, Bikeaholics? Mount up and let us take you on another wild-ass ride.
He said wild-ass ride. That's right. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker Podcast and your
high-tech redneck.
Got an awesome episode for you guys, and I gave a little info there all about insurance. Really, this is going to be kind of an evergreen episode that people will refer to. We have learned a lot. And so this came to light because obviously we have a large audience, and we communicate with our audience, and we care very much about our patrons, our audience, and this particular individual is recovering right now, and I don't want to give too much information about the particular his injuries and all, but he is pretty seriously injured, but he's communicating with us. He's over in Seattle at a hospital being treated. He was a Washingtonian right here from Washington, and I will give his name because he's a patron. We've already given his name, and our prayers go out to him. And this happened right on while we were actually preparing this episode. This is one of those unfortunate incidents where there's nothing he could do, and a deer straight ran up out in front of him, right up in our neck of the woods. He was riding the canyon, which you guys see a lot of our videos are up in the canyon, State Route 821. Poor article, of course, the Yakima Herald Republic, a joke of a paper, our local paper, but they do the best they can with, I hope they do the best they can. It might be the best that they do, but 54-year-old Ephrata man, he's in fair condition. His motorcycle struck a deer Monday in the Yakima River Canyon about 11:50 a.m. James L. Searson, and I hope I'm saying that right. He's been communicating with us from his hospital bed, reaching out to us, and our prayers and our hopes and like I say, prayers for a speedy recovery go to him. He does have some broken bones in his leg, he states, some broken ribs. Anyways, he was riding north on our 821 right outside my back door here, 15 miles south of Ellensburg, so in between Yakima and Ellensburg, when a deer ran out in front of him, according to the Washington State Patrol news release. He was riding a 2014 Harley Davidson, and he ended up in a northbound ditch. Anyways, I just wanted to give him a shout out. Like I said, I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of detail about him, but I definitely wanted to mention it. He knows that I've been communicating and our prayers go out and all that. But I don't know what insurance and all that he has. We haven't gotten into that, but it definitely is one of those things right there, Lurch, Rick, Brian, that can happen when you're least expecting it, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
He said that thing jumped off of a ledge about 12 feet in front of him. He had no time to brake.
Oh,
there's
good.
There's nothing he could do. He's running down the road, and here comes this thing out of nowhere. No time to brake, no nothing. He's hitting it.
Yep. And we try, you look as much as you can, but there's those times where I've ridden for miles and miles daydreaming, and those deer blend in so well. And this is the time that you guys out there, you gals, you need to understand this can happen. An uninsured motorist can hit you. You can go down of your own fault, which we've seen. You better be damn sure that you're not going to go into bankruptcy and you're going to lose your home. And I don't think that most bikers out there understand their coverage. And I am guilty as charged.
Yeah, I just
guilty.
mine just the other day.
Brian raises his hand. Rick, guilty as charged. Matt, guilty as charged. You just get insurance and you think it's like your car insurance. You're like, I'm covered. I'm insured, bro. I got insurance, right? And in Washington, you don't even need insurance. Not required on motorcycles, only automobiles, which is even more absurd. We won't even get into that topic. Have insurance, especially if you care about your home and your family and, the things that you own. It's just absolute stupidity not to have insurance on a motorcycle. I'm surprised that Washington, a lot of states require it, but Washington is still hold out on that. But this would be the time. He says he has 6 broken ribs. Did I mention that? Yes. And some broken leg, 2 bones in his leg. They have rods in it now just to stabilize it. Swelling goes down. They can do surgery to fix the inside. Anyways, man, my heart breaks because he did sign up as a patron. We mentioned him in an episode. anytime a biker goes down, a law-abiding biker, it just is not something you want to hear, and you feel the pain. And we just hope for a speedy recovery. And he's local. He's a Washingtonian, not necessarily local, but hopefully he, in the future when he heals up, and I told him to stay in touch, that we can maybe meet up with him, communicate with him, and stuff like that. He does have family support system. I asked that. I'm like, if this guy doesn't have family, we're taking a ride over there. I literally would do that for a patron. I'm like, we can't. He's on the other. It's 2 hours, but he says he has a full support system, family, and he's good to go. Because I would hate for a guy to be over there, fellow law-abiding biker, alone, being injured and stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about. Is about the insurance and all that kind of stuff, and where we're at. And of course, we just talked about our patrons, and we absolutely love our patrons. And of course, we would like you yourself to sign up as a patron. You get benefits, all that kind of stuff. Let's just thank these patrons right here.
We got Doug Pergram of Springfield, Ohio, Bill Lagenheimer, Unknown City, Jim Miller of Susanville, California, and he's a top tier.
Top tier.
We also have Michael Berryhill of Waxahachie, Texas.
Good job.
Nice work.
Theodore Harris of Laveen, Arizona. And TJ Butts of Providence, Rhode Island.
Nice. Lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. That's right. You can pledge a certain amount per piece of content. That's videos and podcasts we put out. No risk to you, because you can put a monthly cap to keep in your family budget. We understand that there are benefits by signing up. T-shirts, that's right, stickers, into our private Facebook group, blowing up. And if you're top tier, access upon request to any of our premium videos. Take action, lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon. Help support the platform. Help support the biker revolution, as we're 3 years and going strong. And we have no doubt that we're going to keep going strong with your support. Let's play a voicemail. What do you boys say about that?
Man, thank you so much for your site is awesome. Your answer kind of confirmed what I suspected. And I'm doing some research now. I believe there's an extended kit for the Street Bob. But man, this is just such a cool free service that you're offering, to be able to speak to someone and articulate your questions or issues via voice instead of typing. It's fantastic. So that's it, man. I just wanted to thank you for that. Thank you for investing the time, and I will definitely be frequenting this site and purchasing some of the videos and other things you offer on there. Thanks a lot. Bye.
And that was Dan McCormick. And what he was referring to is our voice, and that's what we do here. This is free, guys. 95% of our content is for free. We only sell a few videos to help support it and pay the bills, keep the lights on, as Lurch would say in the studio. Of course, we have the store, but this guy, Don McCormick, so thankful. We get these messages all the time. I don't play them all for you guys, but we actually respond via voice. The way we do that is lawabidingbiker.com/voicemail. You can leave a computer voicemail from anywhere in the world, right from the microphone, right on your computer, and then we can respond in voice. And it makes it easy because Lurch does it and I do it. We just do reply, and this guy's so impressed that he gets a voicemail back. He was actually asking about putting forward controls on his 17 Street Bob, and I went back and forth. You know how we do, Lurch. Rick, you know the SpeakPipe messages. It's SpeakPipe service that we use, and we can hear them and get their message, and we can also just quickly leave them a voice message back. And that, a lot of people are very impressed like that. You're right. We are doing it for free. We don't get paid for that, and we try to get back in a reasonable amount of time, although the bigger we get, the more busy we get, the harder it is to do that. But there you go, and we appreciate it. When guys give us props, it makes us realize that what we're doing is the right thing, and that it's not in vain, and that it is appreciated by the biker community. Lurch, why don't you talk about this, because you were involved in this. This is a new free video. Before we get into our main topic, I wanted to announce this.
Were my hands involved in this
Your
video?
Sexy hands, most famous hands in the world.
They are
Lurch
shared
has
by Lloyd's of London for $1 million.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, no, my meat grabbers are in a lot of those videos.
I think he shaves them daily.
He does.
No, I'm just naturally hairless. It's kind of strange, but it comes in handy. So anyways, we have a new video out. Wise ass. It's a Harley Davidson OEM wire signal connector Molex harness. You got a lot of words up there.
That's
Molex
for search engine optimization.
Oh my God. So basically, Molex plug harness removal, how to take it apart. So we will show you how to take that Molex harness apart. And if Ryan puts the link back up there, I will tell you the URL to get to it. It is lawabidingbiker.com/Harley Molex plug.
How else can they find it?
They can always go to our website and go to the top right-hand corner to the search bar and just put in Molex plugs. And we'll show you a little tips and tricks. We've shown you how to take like the big ones apart. Where you
the big stock Harley plugs is what we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm.
So these on the newer bikes, well, I know the 15s. Is your 14?
Oh, yeah.
These?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's 14 on.
Even before that, but yeah.
They made some changes in the for the controls, and there's not so many wires that are running up and down the handlebars. They use a kind of a computer ribbon, if you will, up in the controls. So now they've got these smaller plugs that are down below, and they're kind of interesting to take apart. And so we got some little tips and tricks there, how to get them apart in case you have to run through your bars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this particular segment of video, which is free on YouTube, is taken directly from our #1 ranked Harley-Davidson handlebar install series of videos. We have 4 of them over there. No doubt you too can install handlebars. Guys from around the world, successful doing it with our video. But we show you there's very specific ways to take those, and there are tricks. And of course, in law-abiding biker style, we show you and we explain it well. We've got so many props on that video because guys are like, we watch other videos, but they do it and they don't really explain it. But you know me, I'm a anal when it comes, right, guys? When I'm video recording on how
you're definitely anal.
I know how to instruct.
I saw that thing down in the kitchen that you were bragging about using last night. I know you.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, the butt plug. Yeah, and there's a way to explain things, and that's why guys like our stuff so much, is because we don't gloss over.
No, we
explain it to how we're doing it.
Right. We talk about what we're doing and how what it feels like, and so when you're playing with that Molex plug, we give you a lot more detail other than, hey, just stick the pin in here and push down. We talk about what it feels like and how to just, and on the Molex plug, you just barely push it in a little bit and then go down. And so we really work you all the way through the process so that you should hopefully experience the same experience that we felt when we went through.
And that's the comments we're getting. And these plugs, guys, are stock on the Harleys, and you'll recognize them if you go to the particular article that we did. And these are your signal plugs, and the reason you would take these off is to put a new one on and or extend them. But there's very, very specific ways that you need to do it. And again, completely free video. Lurch has a question. I think Brian has something too.
Well, we've done quite a bit of stuff on the Deutsch connectors.
Yeah, right.
Those are those bigger ones.
You said Deutsch.
Sweet. Deutsch. And so we haven't had to take off these Molex plugs in our look
at those hands.
ape hanger bars, but we on your MXT bars where we had to get through some 90 degree corners, we had to take these off. They wouldn't fit. So we'd never taken them apart before because we didn't have to.
Right.
Yeah. So we figured out how to do it and filmed it and talked about how to do it. And you should have no problems getting through it now.
Almost 5,000 views, and we didn't put that out too long ago. I'm just looking at the YouTube here, but that is free on our channel. Brian, did you have something?
Yes, I actually used your video for when I put my 7-pin into my new bike, and we used the same information when we did Rick's 7-pin.
Nice. Is that the 7-pin video, or was it this one?
It was the 7-pin video.
The 7-pin in install, which is another video on how to get that a Deutsch connector, right? Whatever.
The larger ones are the Deutsch connectors. These little 4-pin ones are the Molex.
Yes, the Molex, yes. Very good. Thanks, Brian, for that information. That is completely free, supported by donations and patrons and everything in between, is why we can continue to do those free videos. Like I say, we only sell a few for obvious reasons. All right, so let's just dive into the main topic here. This is the main topic: no PIP, personal injury protection insurance for motorcycle riders in Washington State. It's not required by Washington State to provide it, and it holds true in many other states throughout. So let me tell you a little story. Here's how this subject came up. Let me take you back.
Wait, we need a dream sequence.
Oh, we do. You're right. Totally. Let me take you back. I love that, dude. So we had a retired officer. Of course, many of us here at Law Abiding Biker Media are either full-time law enforcement and or fully retired, such as Brian's case over here, bastard, raising his hand, rubbing it in.
3 more years, Brian. 3 more years.
And then he's going to be lab full-time.
I hope so.
Yep. As long as
I got to fill out an application, go through that whole process. I just hope I have what it takes.
Go ahead, fill it out. You're hired. All right.
To be a lab employee.
Yeah, dude. It's going to be awesome. And we'll be able to do this, get even more stuff out to you guys. So this little story happened because one of the officers that I work with retired, and he's a motorcycle rider, enthusiast, hobbyist, does it on the side. So this, he was driving down, and I actually went to the collision. He was riding his motorcycle, and typical cage pulled out in front of him at an intersection. It wasn't a lighted intersection, but a stop sign. He had the through on Lincoln at 6th Avenue. Mm-hmm. He had the through westbound, and another cage, of course, typical uninsured tweakers came across and pulled out in front of him, and he T-boned them, bent his handlebars, went down. Anyways, I get talking to him. He's okay. He had some issues, some medical issues. Of course, he wasn't critical or didn't have to go out of town to a hospital. He was treated here, but nonetheless had some injuries, of course, as you would expect. And he was talking to me. I was up at Memorial Hospital for lunch one day, and I happened to run into him, and he brought this up. And he's like, I said, how have you been since your accident? You know, what's going on? And he goes, dude, I just need to advise you of something. If you are not aware, he goes, you aren't covered by your insurance. I go, what do you mean? And honestly, I've been riding motorcycles a long time, and I handle a lot of motorcycle wrecks, you know, as a full-time Leo. But I've never dove into that, and maybe that's my ignorance, and I should have asked more questions. And he says, hey, I'm with State Farm, and I don't have personal injury protection. And I know this is ignorant, but I'm free to admit it. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what PIP was. And I go, what do you mean? He says, well, what happened is they were uninsured, and they didn't have any insurance, and I'm not covered by personal injury protection, which means they're not covering any of my medical bills, bro. My insurance refuses to cover me and my medical bills. And I'm like, well, that is unbelievable. I go, so what are you doing? He goes, well, I've paid out of pocket, and they're knocking at my door to pay these bills. Now, he was told a little bit of bad information by State Farm, his particular agent, and his agent said, no, we don't cover you. You know, you're going to have to find coverage elsewhere. So he went to the city insurance, which he technically was still under. He was still employed. He's retired now. To cover in his city insurance, his employer insurance said, hey, no, that's a auto accident. That's a motorcycle accident. You need to get covered by State Farm. So this guy was sitting out in the wind. He went to an attorney. And so I that very day, he told me, I said, okay, this is wrong. And he was adamant. He's a pretty smart guy. Like, he wouldn't feed me full of bullshit. And so I went that day and drove in on my lunch to my insurance agent at State Farm. And I said, listen, this is what I was just told. What is my coverage? And I was swiftly educated, and realization struck in. I was like, holy shit. And he goes, no. He says, actually, in Washington State, hardly any insurance companies will offer PIP, personal injury, no fault personal injury protection, which we'll break down. Lurch did some research recently. And he says, you're not covered at no fault PIP. And you are on your own. In fact, Washington State doesn't require insurance companies to have PIP for motorcycles. They have it for automobiles. And so, no, you're not covered, Ryan, and you're not covered with PIP. However, the caveat to that, which we will talk about different circumstances, is if you are insured by an employer in Washington State, the employer must pick up, per the insurance commissioner, must pick up your medical bills now. So that means if you get in a wreck, you're not getting personal. Let's say I lay my bike down and go into a telephone pole. My insurance company, they're fixing my bike. They don't give a shit about me personally. Don't give a shit and won't cover me. And so you're on your own. But per Washington State law, your employer's insurance company is required to pick up those medical bills. Now that brings on a whole bunch of other issues, such as out-of-pocket deductibles, how much, what their injury and what kind of doctors you're going to see. We could really go down a rabbit hole there. But nonetheless, he told me, I said, so what should this guy do? He goes, just email the insurance commissioners, Washington State, and they'll swiftly tell them that they are required under law to cover him under his employer insurance. He didn't have to get that far because he got an attorney, and then the attorney just called him. They're like, oh yeah, he just got bad information. So he had to be covered by the employer's insurance, but he still had, like you say, deductibles and a ton of out of pocket and all that kind of stuff. So that brings up some issues that lays the foundation. And I know there's a lot of argument. People my insurance offers PIP. No, they don't. Okay. They call it something else, and they are going to charge you for it. And it's not the coverage. I could keep going. I went in yesterday and actually sat down with my insurance agent to make sure I'm on par, but I want to hear, I've talked enough and I'm thirsty. I want to hear what you guys have to say a little bit, and then I can jump in and interject. And feel free, any of you, we have a lot of experience in this room, and this is really an important episode. I really believe that for our audience. So who wants to take the helm?
I'll start off since I have my phone up and ready to talk.
Here, I'm going to hold the helm. And I'm going to give it to you.
No, you hold it, but I'm just going to talk.
No, I want you to have the
I don't want to hold it. I'm holding my phone.
I'm not supposed to drive.
I can't hold the helm.
I'm not supposed to drink.
I don't want the helm.
The helm.
The helm's yours. The helm is yours. So we had this conversation. Ryan and I were going back and forth, and I thought, oh, interesting. Okay. So I pulled up my insurance, who is through Progressive. I have USAA insurance, and they don't do motorcycles anymore, so they have a deal with Progressive. So I switched over to Progressive, and I pulled up my policy, and I saw that I have bodily injury and property damage liability. So I thought, well, I must have this insurance that Ryan's talking about. I did a little bit more digging, and that bodily injury and property damage is not for me; it's for others.
Yes, so they will cover others. So if you put that in perspective for a biker out there, so if they hit somebody, that car, another biker,
right, that insurance covers others. It doesn't cover you.
Doesn't cover jack shit for you.
And so at first I thought, nah, I'm good, man. I don't know what you're talking about. So I did a little bit more digging, and I found out, okay, what is PIP, or personal injury protection, versus bodily injury and property damage liability? And the difference is the bodily injury and property damage liability is for others, whereas the PIP is for you.
Right.
So I did a little bit more research through what I had, and I found out that I had no PIP, or no personal injury. So
no fault PIP.
No fault PIP. So what I've learned is that
they're not required in Washington State, which is why they don't do it.
So I learned if I went down and I got hurt, let's just say it's me riding down the road and I put it down for whatever reason.
Or you hit a deer.
Or I hit a deer. Let's say I'm going through the Yakima
Straight
Canyon
up deer.
and I hit a deer.
You're fucked.
Now, yes and no.
Right, because you're employed and you have employer insurance.
So I'm employed and I have insurance, but I also have a max out of pocket, which is like $6,000.
Right, per year,
so
right.
I could, if I don't have $5,000-$6,000 laying around, I could get in a wreck, hypothetically, and be injured and have to pay $6,000 in out-of-pocket expenses and not necessarily have it. So I went in through Progressive and I looked, and I can add an insurance. It's called medical payments insurance. It's the same thing as a PIP. They call it something different. It is no fault.
Right.
So
it's not PIP, but it is, and it's a lesser, which we'll talk about. They will not give you the same amount of PIP coverage
right
on motorcycles, regardless of what they call it. They will not give you the dollar value. They just won't.
With Progressive, I could do 5, 10, and 25 grand where they're
which is no fault limits. PIP. So if you went down, hit a deer, the most they're going to give you if you pay the premiums
5, 10, or 25.
Where on my automobile, it's $100,000 per person. So it's a huge 25K is like pissing on a fire, unless you're insured by your employer and you're just using it to meet your deductibles. But if your employer does not have insurance, you are fucked. Like seriously, like you need to pay attention to this.
So for me, in my particular instance, I have a max out of pocket of $6,000 a year. So I didn't want the 5 because I thought, well, that doesn't cover the 6. So I went with the 10. So it's $10,000 per person, and it's going to cost me $193 a year. So $200 a year for $10,000 per person. So me and my rider, I figured it was worth it. It would cover my max out of pocket for myself and my wife.
As long as you're employed and have employer insurance. Right. See, amazing. Were you surprised when you made that call? Like, holy shit, I have not been covered this whole time. Like, I was dumbfounded. Like, I didn't know this. And I feel like I'm in the motorcycle industry. And it's one of those things we pay for monthly and you just feel like you're covered because you're used to cars, right? You're used to cars and you're like, and I don't think agents really explain that well. When you are on a motorcycle, they kind of, you're sign here. You pay your own. You just expect it from your car insurance. That's what we have to draw on, right? And interesting. And then Rick, maybe you have something to say, and Brian. Interesting. The other thing is there's such thing as UIM, which is uninsured motorist or underinsured.
Yeah.
So I have some scenarios. I think I want to wait on the scenarios so we can, after we talk about this, I can do some scenarios. This happens. How are you covered? And how to best be covered. So
I would save the underinsured motorist
and
towards the end of
underinsured.
the conversation. Yeah,
good call. Because there is that, and there's different ways to get hit on a motorcycle. There's certain ways you want to be hit if you get hit. And if there's any good part of being struck, yes.
Let me also add to that. I have AFLAC on top of that.
Right.
So I have some extra protection there. So I now feel pretty comfortable. I have my motorcycle insurance, so it'll cover the bike. I added the medical payment insurance, which will at least cover my max out of pocket, and I have AFLAC on top of that.
Right, good, because this is real life, Rick. This is real life, and he has AFLAC, and you have the working class American has a lot to lose, and there's guys, I read articles that have lost everything that they knew in this world up to filing bankruptcy due to a injury. Motorcycle collision. So this is the real deal. This is serious shit. You guys, I know we joke and laugh a lot on this podcast and it's fun. You need to frickin' make sure you're covered for you. Yes, Lurch.
And God forbid I die, Mrs. Lurch will be rich.
Yep. Well,
because I also have
Can you put me on that, please?
No.
Come on, dude.
So I have
I'll take care of your old lady.
I have some life insurance through work, and I also have some personal life insurance.
He leaves the bedroom window unlocked. He doesn't know.
Yeah, I found your wallet one time under the bed. It was kind of weird. I don't know how that got there.
Did you find that butt plug that we were from earlier?
What? You freak.
Go ahead, Ricky Lee.
Well, I researched this about 6 months ago.
Why?
Well, the reason why is because
there's always a story.
Well, my dad,
Brian White, has lots of stories.
Yeah, my dad about 2 years ago got hit by, and I'm not saying this as a political dope, but he got hit by an illegal alien that had no insurance. Mm-hmm. And the car ran.
What's the Trump have to say about that?
I don't know.
Well,
this was before Trump. Mm-hmm. But he got hit on a one-way street, Martin Luther King Boulevard, and hit him. And then the guy got freaked out and he ended up backing up and running over him again.
No.
Yes. And my dad ended up breaking the front and the back of his pelvis and his wrist. And when we called the insurance, which at that time, because he has so many vehicles and so a few rental houses, luckily he was with Country Companies at the time, and he actually had the medical reimbursement on it.
Good.
So the first thing they told us is the bike's covered and your medical bills up to $25,000 are covered.
That's the $25K cap that you'll never get more.
25 is the cap. I didn't go with that because of my.
That's all they would offer.
Well, and I also have the employer insurance.
Right.
And my dad was just on Social Security insurance.
Mm-hmm.
He had just retired a couple years before, but even at this, it cost him thousands because what they thought was originally just a broken wrist ended up being a broken pelvis when his groin area swelled up due to the internal bleeding. So they had to hurry up and get him on a plane over to Harborview.
There you go. There's your $25K done.
Yeah.
Burned.
And not only did he go through 2 surgeries, but then he was actually in an assisted living care for 3 months. For 3 months, he sat in an assisted living care here in Richland because he could not walk or anything. And so with that, he had to, and the guy, of course, got prosecuted. YPD did a fantastic job. They found the car down at Target. They found the guy, but of course he had no car insurance, but he had a job.
No.
So he got convicted. He got convicted of hit and run. He got convicted of the no insurance ticket, but his restitution on a monthly basis is $25.
Oh yeah, that adds up
and
quick.
My dad ended up eating a lot of this in deductibles because Social Security's deductibles are, probably I'm not on Social Security, so I'm not an expert in that type of health insurance, but I'm assuming it's higher deductibles than what we have as a private insurance, employee insurance. And I can't say whether that's accurate or not, but he said that compared to his Hanford insurance, it was a lot more.
Yep.
And then he had, of course, all the rehabilitation. But for 3 months, he was sitting in this assisted living. And I was coming up on my days off and visiting him and keeping his spirits up. But mentally, it really took a toll on him. And to this day, he's been on his bike maybe 3 times. And it's not out of scaredness. It's just his hips are so messed up. He can't do anything more than ride to the casino to go do the blackjack thing or ride very quickly into town. And even at that, he's sore. So this is very important. That's a real life story. So after about a couple years, when I changed my insurance over to, I was like Lurch, I was with Esurance, and Esurance doesn't provide motorcycle insurance, but they have a deal with Progressive. And so when I called Progressive, they just quoted me a rate, and I said, okay.
Damn Flo.
Well,
Flo
about
from Progressive.
6 months ago,
Bitch.
Hey, you want to hear this is off topic, an interesting story. I went to a guy who died of natural causes at a local laboratory in Richland, Washington. And when I opened up his wallet to get his ID out, where there would normally be a picture of his family, he had a picture of Flo.
Sweet, dude.
That was awesome.
Weird.
That was awesome. I was thinking
Lurch has the same one in his wallet.
Every time this guy opens his wallet at Safeway to buy groceries, it's almost like he wants them to see a picture of Flo. And I was like, that is a sense of humor, mister.
That is, dude.
But anyhow, so about 6 months ago, when I renewed, because I pay for the entire year at one shot because it's a little bit cheaper with Progressive. If you save up over the year to be able to do it, I started looking into this. And of course, I had medical for my passenger, but I had nothing for myself. So if I went down, the person in the other car and my passenger was covered, but not me.
That's typical. That's standard insurance.
And as soon as I added the medical insurance for me, the premium went up like big time.
Of course. And it's going to be limited coverage. Most insurance companies will not go past 25K.
So it's definitely got me. I did not add it at the time, but now that we've done all this research, my renewal's in November. Probably since we got the California ride schedule and Brian and I are doing the Vegas ride, I'm going to seriously at the beginning of next month see what I can do for the medical, because just think about this. My dad was local, right? What if we are in Las Vegas and we get hit and sent to a Las Vegas where we're not from, and we're in Las Vegas at a hospital, and now you're trying to deal with all of this stuff out of your hometown, away from your family. I think it's good for people to know exactly what they have and be prepared for it, because you're right. There are going to be health insurance companies that are going to say, because we've all done it, where I'm assuming all of you have gotten the letter where you go into the hospital for something and the hospital will automatically kick you a letter saying, this seems to be an accident. Can you please provide the details as to what happened? Because they want to verify if there's a possibility they can get money back from the other person. And so that's happened even on things that are an accident, but it has nothing to do with like another person. Like one time I slipped and fell in the parking lot and went to the dock.
That
box.
old insurance scam. Good job.
No, I did. I really did on ice.
It was slippery.
And I just went to the dock in the box for a sore back. And before they even paid the claim, they sent me a letter saying, please give us the details. This appears to be an accident. There might be somebody else liable. I'm like, I slipped in the city parking lot. I don't want to sue them. I just wanted to go for a sore back, and you can give me a muscle relaxer so I can feel better in a couple of days. But they'll send you out those letters. So it's really got me thinking, especially with this. And at the first of the month, I'm going to add the medical premium for myself as well. Not because I'm worried about what I'm going to do, but I'm worried about what others do, because in Richland, we actually had a guy die within the last 2 months where he was parked behind a box truck and a guy ran up and hit him. He flew into the box truck, ended up dying. And then the guy that hit him ended up killing himself on the bridge to Ellensburg about 2 to 3 weeks later.
Redmond.
Because he couldn't deal with, he was looking at a DUI for marijuana. He was dealing with, vehicular homicide. And it's a sad story for everybody involved in that. But that guy sitting at the intersection, how many times have we been stopped at an intersection and you look and a car comes in hot and comes very damn close to you? Those are what I'm worried about.
Because they're texting.
Mm.
Yeah. So
every intersection is a red light, by the way.
But my dad,
every intersection.
My dad's scenario really changed a lot of views for me, because it's not just that he was hurt,
right?
But how would you like to be locked up in assisted living care for 3 months where you can't walk, and you're in there by yourself except for some family support? Now put that into, what if it happens on a Canada ride or Vegas, right, or California? That's the thing that scares me, not being around. And I've had another friend, Rafael Garcia, who was like a second dad to me. He retired from Mapton High School. Excellent rider, was actually on the Motorcycle Safety Foundation Board of Washington State, was a driver's ed teacher, everything. He got involved in an accident on his way down to Arizona to go see one of our mechanic buddies that we know, Brad. And he actually crashed, and it was 3 months after he retired.
Yep.
Sad situation, right? But now his family is trying to figure out, what insurance does he have? How do we get the bike back? Is the bike covered? Is this? So you better have all your ducks in a row and tell your loved ones around you what you have and what to do if something happens to you, especially before the long rides.
Exactly.
I think something I'm going to do now that we're talking about this conversation and some of the things that we've experienced here recently is life flight insurance.
Nice.
It's about $5 a month.
It's cheap. You buy it every year, and it covers you for $25,000 to $30,000. That trip, it covers you. It works out to be like.
Is that through your motor or your regular insurance?
No,
it's separate, right?
It's through Life Flight.
So you had to go through Life Flight, which is here in Washington State, I'm sure. Or is it nationwide? Okay, thank you.
And
you're educating me right now.
Yeah, I was just looking at it as you guys were talking, and it's about $5 a month, or it's $1,000 for a lifetime. So if you're young and you just want to, and you get the money and you can nut up, just buy it for a lifetime. Otherwise, you can do yearly. You can do 2 years, 5 years, lifetime. But
that's to get flowing from the scene or from another hospital to another hospital, right? Am I tracking?
About $5 a month, and I don't have it, but I'm going to get it.
Yeah, they're
just
big
for a free
down in
helicopter ride, Lurch. Just for a free helicopter ride.
Well, they're in Richland, and they got their pamphlets out, and I will tell you, they've had a bunch of commercials in the Tri-Cities, and they're like, you can pay $20,000, or you can pay this, and this covers you. For last time I saw it, it covered your entire family for like the $75 or $100 a year premium, your entire family. But that covers you for the 1 year. That's a bargain. And I've thought about signing up for it too, but now you got me really thinking about. I didn't think about that. If it's nationwide, and you're stuck in the middle of nowhere in Nevada, and they have to bring in a helicopter to fly you into Reno or Carson City or any of these other big cities to get treated, that's a big deal.
Yeah. And it may even cover you. I remember before I retired, we had it for our guild, and it was like $69 a year. It would cover you if you were injured in another state, and they would transport you back here.
Wow. Yeah, that can get really expensive quick, and take a chunk out of this PIP, which we're talking about, this personal injury protection. And make no mistake about it, especially here in Washington, if your insurance companies is telling you they're offering PIP, they're not. They're offering an alternative to regular automobile PIP insurance, and I'm just telling you that a lot because I get that from a lot of guys. I have PIP on. No, you don't. Okay, and we had that discussion with Popeye and all them, and it's not their fault. No, you don't. In fact, they're not required to have it. In fact, they don't have it. And like Lurch said, he actually researched it. They're going to offer you an alternative, which is not even close to the coverage and the fees that you're going to pay to get some sort of no-fault medical insurance protection, we'll call it, through your insurance company, through your motorcycle insurance company. And it could vary in different states. But I'm specifically talking about Washington and some of the things you need to look into in your particular state. With that said, before Lurch, you might have a comment. Let's do this.
Hey, bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? Zero 3D has just what you're looking for. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Zero 3D's got your back with chrome, lighting, and comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for easy access.
We like them easy.
That equals less time installing and more time riding. That's what we love. Zero 3D has a design team with over 40 years of experience with a passion for design and innovation. These guys are bikers, and they care about bikers just like you. They pride themselves on great customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them via email, sales@ciro3d.com, or give them a call at 715-808-0027. Ciro 3D is distributed in the United States by Drag Specialties, in Europe by Parts Europe and Zodiac, and in Asia by Twin Arc. Check out your local Harley-Davidson dealership and ask for Ciro Parts. Head over and check them out at lawabidingbiker.com/Ciro, CIRO, and tell them the Law Abiding Biker crew sent
Yep, we are a Ciro 3D distributor. We have Ciro products now right in our very own Law Abiding Biker store. lawabidingbiker.com/store. Big Daddy Kane has them ready to ship to you direct, and he will take care of you. Lurch.
Big Daddy Kane, I just got the authority, the go ahead, the permission of Mrs. Lurch to buy your old man's truck. So I got to go take a look at it.
Oh, yeah.
Got the green light from the old lady.
I did.
Nice.
She's going to let loose of the purse strings and let me go maybe buy that thing.
You going to get lucky tonight too?
No, she's in Seattle.
You're not getting lucky.
No, I'm just going to rub
with
one
your
out.
hand. Your hand, you're going to get lucky. Straight up. Welcome to the married life. All right. Anyways, Pip, Brian, do you have anything before we start breaking down some scenarios or personal experiences or things you want to say? Now's the time.
Yeah, as a recently retired guy,
Old guy.
I gave up my
It's
employer.
amazing you retired at 40. Good job.
I wish it was only 40, but I gave up my medical insurance when I retired. So I made
Full-time
sure,
retired Leo Brian is, by the way.
Yes. So I made sure that when I got my insurance, I talked, and I'm
Your
insured through
motorcycle
Safeco.
insurance?
Yes.
Okay.
And I made sure that I had PIP coverage on that, but it's just like Lurch and Fat Daddy.
He called you fat
Sorry.
daddy.
Big Daddy.
I used to be fat
to be
daddy.
I know a Fat Daddy as well. So.
Now you're skinny daddy.
The only thing fat about me now is down
Thanks, Brian,
in the
for the laugh.
crotch region.
Thanks for the, you ain't
Your
fat
big
anywhere.
balls?
No, fat is in PHAT. It's badass.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. The PHAT fat.
Nice, dude.
As they've said, it limits the coverage.
Right.
And I paid extra for it. It was an extra $270 a year.
For how much? Up to 25K?
Or up to 25K.
That cap, that 25K is
That's
our
a
research,
cap.
right?
Yep.
That's our research here today. Is Washington ain't going to give you any more than fucking 25K, period.
And how much was
For
it for
no
the 25?
200 and some, he said.
270.
All right.
year.
Yeah, I was 193 for the 10.
Yeah.
10.
But I went and picked the larger number to make sure and cover some stuff. But I do have a VIBA medical
Yeah,
retirement
right.
account.
A flexible spending account. And
Yeah.
that's Viva here in Washington, yeah.
And I'm just waiting to see how the insurance exchange stuff changes
That's
under
scary.
our new president. So
Right. That's scary.
It is.
Though,
very scary.
because Brian here is retired without a medical insurance plan. And this is what I want to get down to. We're doing good on time and we'll wrap it up. But I want to break this down, what we've talked about, to some scenarios and things you need to think about. Here, Brian, it retired, no medical insurance plan. We're all currently employed, so we can fall back. Of course, we have some out of pocket, like Lurch said, some deductibles. It's going to cost us, but we're not going to go bankrupt. Okay. We're safe from going bankrupt, and they're going to cover a lot of those medical bills should we have an at fault, regardless of fault, motorcycle collision. Say I go down, say I hit a deer. Okay. When you jump into Brian's shoes, or a lot of the listeners out there who are privately employed and or work for an employer that doesn't have insurance offered through their through the employer, you are really, really hanging out there, because if you are not insured through your employer, and even if you, it's neck bubbles.
Is that you
that's
blowing
me.
neck bubbles?
Straight up,
Okay.
dude. It's the Jack
Sorry,
Daniels
that's
neck
the-
bubbling.
That's the audio snobbing me.
It is the
Hearing
audio.
some
I
stuff
know
in
you
the
heard it too.
background.
You gave me the old look.
Yeah, like who's blowing neck bubbles?
Straight up. But if you are not through your employer insured, you are just look at this. So you go down on your own accord, or you hit a deer or something where another driver didn't hit you that's insured or something like that. Okay. Even if you have what Brian has, which is not PIP, it's not PIP. That's why they don't call it that. It's some kind of medical coverage. They have different names for it in different states. We will give you, for $300 a year to round it off, we're going to give you $25K. Okay. If you get life flighted or you have a broken femur or something like that, you just piss your $25K away. Okay. You're done. Okay. That's like pissing on a fire. Now Brian's sitting there laying in a hospital bed in Harborview, going, what the fuck? I can't make my house payments. They're billing me. I'm going to collections. Okay. And I'm just saying this, that is the problem. And it's like this in many states. So you guys need to be aware. You need to check with your insurance. And I don't know what alternative that you do, regardless of VIBA. Let's just say it's a guy who runs a construction, right? He works for construction. He doesn't have insurance. There's a lot of bikers that are construction out there. They don't have employer insurance. Say they get the max with this motorcycle, no fault injury insurance, not PIP, whatever they want to call it. You're on your own. You're done. You got bill collectors coming after you. And this is typical, guys. And this is why I really want to send this message home to you guys out there that enjoy riding motorcycles. We have to protect our families. And I don't know if anybody here can tell me an alternative, like how, if I was a construction worker and I don't have that and I have the 25K and that's all I have, and I go down where I hit a deer, I'm 25K and I'm screwed, right? I mean, I don't know what other supplements, that you can get. We're lucky because we have employer provided insurance.
Aflac.
Yeah.
And Aflac will, and I found this out from
Aflac.
They will pay
not a
for
paid commercial.
accident insurance, even if it's on the job.
Okay.
But
so they would have to pay an assload more money for Aflac, right? Or whatever.
Well, Aflac will pay if it's
but they have to pay for that.
Right.
You're a construction worker. You got to pay an assload of money for some alternative coverage, right?
Yeah. And like for me, I'm looking at a catastrophic policy. If I have, a life-threatening injury or
catastrophic insurance, which is a whole nother,
right.
Which
which will save me from the bankruptcy deal, but it's not going to cover a lot of other stuff.
Man, scary, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
And we're looking at this as one perspective as the rider, but let's face it, we all are thinking it. There's a reason why insurance companies want to cover so little when you're on a motorcycle. Don't get me started on
insurance companies. See, I wasn't going to go here, Rick.
No,
I know we have insurance agents that listen and stuff. I can go on a tangent.
I'm not
mad
painting.
About insurance.
I'm not going to paint.
You are. You said it before the podcast. Yeah, you did.
No,
you said you hate all insurance company. You would kill on site any insurance agent. Didn't you say that at dinner?
I was a full lines agent. I doubt I would say that.
Lurch, back me.
You were an insurance agent?
I was a full lines insurance agent.
What haven't you done?
When I worked at the bank,
that's why he's so experienced.
I was a full lines insurance agent. I sold life, disability, property, and casualty, and I was a Series 6 and 63.
This guy's bright. He's bright.
I was a 6 and 63 certificate.
He's my bright little lab star.
And he wants miniature donkeys.
I do want a miniature donkey. I want to call him Elmer.
Elmer?
Elmer. I want an old person's name, Elmer. But I will tell you that, we're all thinking it. The listeners are thinking of it. This isn't bashing on agents or even the insurance company as a corporation.
Well, he was
as
at
a
dinner.
whole.
He was at dinner. But go ahead. Now that you're on the mic, go ahead.
We all know.
Rick, they ain't losing money.
That's exactly. You said what I said that we're all thinking. There's a reason why they give you that coverage in a car versus a motorcycle, because in a catastrophic event or a major accident, if you're on the motorcycle, there's more chance that you're going to be injured. Costs are going to be more expensive. And so as long as the states don't require them to offer the same coverage as a car, so they're just taking, this isn't a bash on insurance companies. They're taking advantage of what the law says that they have to offer.
Which is bullshit. I'll just say
and that's up to the state. That's up to the state insurance commissioner to handle.
Either cover me or don't cover me. I pay you money. Either cover me or don't cover me. But that's just sorry. But I don't give them that much of a break.
They are in the business to make money.
They make money either way.
You know damn well that if you get hurt.
How many insurance companies is going out of business?
None.
How many new insurance companies? You go to accidents every day. I see some new insurance company every day to go to a collision. Somebody gives me a new insurance company with a new name. These people are making money.
I agree.
Okay,
but understand, we're all thinking it. There's a reason why they don't offer the same protections when you're on a motorcycle, because the chances of more injuries.
Because they're raping us, Rick. Raping us.
Hey, we have Vern Funk, by the way.
I know we do.
In Yakima.
It's ridiculous.
They used to have it over in Seattle. They had strippers on their commercials.
Right.
Honk if you hear Vern Fonk.
Dude,
and they had the little, they were riding on their stomachs. There was a couple little nasty strippers dancing there. It was like the worst commercial you've ever seen.
Every high-risk driver in Washington State has Vern Fonk.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a nationwide thing, but Vern Fonk is the word.
Trashy insurance.
So honk if you hear Vern Fonk.
He's got an office in the Tri-Cities as well.
Yeah, he's moving to the east side of the state.
He's been on the west side for 15 plus years when we first got with our agency.
I was over there.
Yeah, we used to see the commercials.
Well, the longtime spokesman that was made famous in those commercials died a couple of years ago.
Vern, baby, Vern Fonk Insurance.
Oh, that's right.
Vern, baby,
that's
Vern.
right.
Vern Fonk, remember that? Dude?
Those nasty horrors
Oh,
dancing.
yeah.
It's like, what am I watching?
Just trashy commercials.
Horrible.
Sorry, way off track, but that's what we do here.
But yeah, that's why they don't want to offer the same protections. They know if
because they want to get
hit,
rich, right? Mm-hmm.
But what bothers me the most is all these people running around with no insurance, period, and leaving the motorcycle riders out. That sucks.
Yep.
And just to interject another point, we were talking earlier about Hawaii. Back when I was in the military over there, Hawaii has a good deal. Probably the one good deal when I was over there. They have no fault
free
insurance.
strippers. Oh, sorry. Oh no, sorry.
So everyone pays for insurance for their vehicle. You insure you.
Okay, right.
Their insurance takes care of them. They don't care who's at fault in an accident, anything else. It's if you pay for your insurance covers you, your vehicle, everything.
And Canada's similar. You have to have insurance before you get your registration.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
They have vehicle inspections and they check everything and make sure everything's good to go.
Brian is so wise. He's got so much experience. He's like the Mark Twain of our generation.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what 40 years, when you're 40 years old, you have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Just straight up, right?
And he's got that old goatee. I like it.
He does.
Someday.
He needs to grow that thing all the way down. And then he can braid it.
Late at night
braid it like that guy in that System of the Down. He needs to braid it like that guy from System of the Down.
All I know is once Big Daddy gets his donkey, about 11:30, 12 p.m., this is all you're going to hear from his property. Where's Rick? Where's Rick? Where'd you go? And that's all you're going to hear over.
That's god awful. Dear Jesus, please forgive Ryan.
You know what?
Please forgive 10-pound baby Jesus. Please forgive Ryan.
Oh, little baby Jesus, please forgive Ryan Urlacher for his sins that he has just committed. We like to thank some people to give some donations.
We never
balk.
We
won't balk.
We love our patrons. Balk. Love our patrons. Never balk at a flat donation. Lurch.
We would like to thank the following people for giving us a generous donation. Thank you very much to the following: William Richardson of Hayes, Kansas; John Edwards of Frederick, Maryland; Chad Winston of Auberdale, Florida.
And we got Ray Lepore of Lake Ariel, Pennsylvania. And he left us a message saying he recently bought a 2015 Street Glide Special, and you have great videos for it. Thank you. Then we have Dave McCall of Smithville, Missouri, Marion Miller, and
Marlon Miller.
Marlon.
And that message was thanks for the video. It really helped a lot.
lawabidingbiker.com/donate is how you get involved. We never balk at a flat donation. We love the flat donations. We'd rather have you as a patron, but again, we appreciate that you support us in any way that you feel that you can. So let's talk about, let's get a little deeper, and then we're going to wrap this episode up. This is so important that I feel it's okay if we go just a little bit long.
You're the orchestrator. Put us on the path.
I got the helm right here in my hands.
Yeah, write your symphony, buddy. Write your symphony.
He's the leader of the band as the Titanic was going down, and he stayed to the very end.
That's right, baby.
Well, that's sad.
It is sad.
What's sad is that I prepared a rhyme and I didn't get a say.
Oh, yeah, you got no opener.
Yeah. Oh, well. I'll save it for next time.
No, do it now. Do it now.
Did you have an opener?
Yeah, he's been playing this phone.
You did no opener.
Hey, by the way, he'd really like to do his little rap.
Yeah, he's got a closer.
I'm done. I'm done.
Nope. Well, you know what?
I don't have my groove now.
You're going to get your groove.
At the beginning.
You're going to have your groove before this episode's over.
Ricky, get your groove back.
You'll have to stay till the end now.
My mojo is gone.
We'll close with that.
We're going to close with that. So you have to stay till the end now to hear.
I wish that one day we would replay the whole 2 Live crew, me and Jake.
Well, we can. We played it on our anniversary episode.
The 100th anniversary. Mm-hmm. We're nearing the 200th. So I'll have to go through the last.
Dude, can you believe that? that we're going on strong like this?
Yeah, we got a ways, but when we get to 200, I'll go back from
That's
101 to
big.
200, and I'll put together another little episode, little ditty of all the funniest clips.
Dang, Skippy, dude.
I need a couple days just to sit down and go through it all. And
yeah,
that was a big project, just pulling that stuff out.
I know.
Wasn't that a great episode? That was like a 3-hour episode. Remember that, Hunter? That was live and people were messaging in. It was one of the first times we were live. Oh, it was crazy. It went so long. All the ladies were downstairs waiting for us.
That's right.
And they made a barbecue for us. And
we'll be doing that again.
I went through hours of Ed's retarded comments to get a minute and a half
of anything, and it still meant nothing.
And nothing.
It was a minute and a half of blah, 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 blah. Oh, gotta love him, cuz. All right, so continuing on with our insurance, rather serious. Mm-hmm. This is serious.
Okay? This is serious shit, bro.
I don't want to see a smile out of you. I don't want to see Brian, I don't want to see a smile out of you. Okay?
We need to stay calm.
We're going to keep
You cannot freak out on me.
We're gonna
stay serious.
Focus.
So, here's the deal. I want to do some scenario-based stuff.
Okay.
Here's the other caveat or prong that I want to put is I was in insurance yesterday, and State Farm obviously does not, like most insurance companies, offer PIP, especially in Washington. Here's the deal. There's also what we call UIM, uninsured motorists, or underinsured motorists. So try to keep this simple. In my car, if I wreck in my car, regardless of fault, I get $100,000 per person, right? Up to $300,000 or something like that. We'll just keep it simple, right? So $100,000 for me, $100,000 for passenger, right? Up to the $300,000 to cover. All right, simple when you're driving a car. If I were to be involved in a collision, I also have PIP, obviously personal, not as much as I thought, and I can't remember the number. I could bump that. That's a no fault PIP.
Right.
We also have what's called uninsured motorists or underinsured motorists. So I said, so I get hit by, let's say I get hit by, here's the scenario, and then we'll discuss it. I am riding my motorcycle and I get hit by somebody who has insurance. Matt Couchman hits me, lurch. But
I'd back up,
he has
Vern
Funk, fucked up Vern Funk, cheap ass, high risk insurance. And he only covers $25,000.
And your bills are $100,000.
And my bills, and I get hurt so bad that my bills are $400,000. But dumbass's insurance over there only covers minimum of $25,000 if he were to be the causing driver, which in this case he was. He pulled out in front of me. Am I screwed? Because I don't have PIP. Okay. But I carry what's called uninsured motorists on my motorcycle. Underinsured. So whether dumbass over there, and I'm pointing at Lurch because I feel like calling him a dumbass because it's fun. He's flipping me off. Dumbass over there has Vern Funk.
Honk.
Or he's uninsured. If he's uninsured, I'm golden. And I know that's sad.
So you're better off if I'm uninsured.
Or even underinsured. It's the same, which we'll get into. So dumbass hits me. Scenario one, he's uninsured. My insurance kicks in because I have UIM, uninsured motorists, and they're going to cover me up to the coverage, whatever coverage I pick. And I forget the exact coverage, but it was like $100,000, something like that. They're going to cover me for uninsured motorists. Okay. Now dumbass has Vern Funk because he thinks he wants to be a law-abiding citizen. I'm going to get insured, but minimum coverage. So my medical bills are $400,000, but he only covers 25. His Vern Funk $25,000. My underinsured, which is the same as the UIM, is going to pick up from the $25,000 up to whatever 100. I'm just rounding it off. I don't know. Let's say 100,000. They'll cover from the 25,000. The underinsured, they'll pick up the rest of it. So best case scenario is you get hit by somebody who's partially insured or uninsured. Of course, if you get hit by some normal person that's fully insured, well, then you're golden. As far as being covered, you're not golden because you're in the fucking hospital, and all those kinds, like your father, with lifelong injuries. But financially, you're covered because they had the proper coverage and proper insurance and all that kind of stuff. So that's a whole nother prong. The PIP, which is nice, is the no fault.
Right.
So PIP doesn't care. like on a car. Like it doesn't matter if you were at fault, if the other person was at fault, you get X amount of dollars per incident, right? To cover your medical bills, and PIP on cars can go really high. And also we can get into collision insurance, right? You have regular collision insurance. If you hit somebody, they're going to cover you. In a car, they're going to cover. That's the problem with a motorcycle. If you go T-bone somebody, you're screwed. They'll fix your motorcycle. They ain't fixing you. They ain't not fixing you. They're fixing your motorcycle only, which is not what we really care about at the end of the day. We want our families to be taken care of. So those are one of the scenarios. Lurch, you have a question or a comment?
I have a statement, if you will. So when this conversation came up the other day, and you and I are kind of going back and forth in text, and I told you that I added that medical payment insurance. Mm-hmm. I can also add the underinsured motorist as well. Although, and I'll open this for the group, I don't know that I needed to up the underinsured motorist because I have employer insurance.
That's the key. That's the key.
Now, and then I upped my...
Brian's different.
Right. Yeah. And I added my medical payment insurance. So that'll cover my max out of pocket. So I'm good. I don't know that I need to up my underinsured motorist.
Right.
Now,
good call.
In Brian being retired and maybe not having the employer insurance, perhaps you'd want to have both of those?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm still trying to decide, do I need to increase my
I don't think you do.
motors? I don't think
as long as you're employed
because I'm employed,
right.
And I have
the key,
and I have the medical payment insurance, so it'll cover my max out of pocket. So I think I'm good. Does that? You guys agree?
In Washington, as long as you have good employee insurance, this doesn't affect you as much, which is what I found out. But I look towards retirement, and things like that. I'm pretty covered. I didn't get any type of extra insurance even after talking to State Farm. I need it not.
You felt like your max out of pocket wasn't worth getting insurance for?
I can pay for the max out of pocket. Yeah. That's not a huge deal to me for my insurance, which is a little bit better than yours.
Yes.
Pretty good. I have really good.
Mine was awesome when I started with my agency.
Yes.
And it's gone downhill. It's not as good as it used to be.
And I would with
so $6,000 out of pocket. I mean, I could get by with that, but for $200 a year,
right?
For me, I decided it was worth it.
And we're like $1,000 out of pocket a year.
Awesome,
so it's like I know it still sucks. It's $1,000 I don't have, but I can eat it and somehow.
Yeah, we're $1,500.
And when I got hired on, it was
stop buying you guys so much booze for the month.
Bro, when I got hired, my insurance cost me nothing. It was $10 to add my wife, and there was no out of pocket, no nothing. And it's just slowly gotten worse over the years. But I figured for $200 a year, I would just kick in and do that.
Wise choice.
Brian, what do you think in your... Would you want to up your underinsured, do you think?
Yeah, and I made sure when I got my PIP equivalent,
right? PIP equivalent, very well said. Yeah,
I made sure that my underinsured and uninsured was up pretty high, and
nice.
Mine, I believe, is at $250,000.
Okay, good for underinsured.
What does that cost you basically in your premiums?
My premium per year is $1,250. For a brand new 17 Road Glide Special.
Milwaukee 8.
$100 a month.
But I made sure the $270 a month or $270 a year was just for the PIP equivalent.
Right.
So the other was $1,000.
This does bring up another, even though we've been talking about personal injury stuff, when
are we getting back on donkeys here? Or?
No.
Okay.
When you think about things like your insurance, you also got to think about if you're at fault, because like Progressive and stuff will quote you a 25, 50.
Please call
which
her
is
Flo.
$25,000 for you, $25,000 per person, and $50,000 out of pocket. Now let's say you T-bone and it's your fault into a brand new Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
A brand new Mercedes that's $75,000. It very well, with the injury to the person inside and the damage to the car, be more than $50,000. That's why I even boosted my motorcycle insurance up to the 100, 300. So you got to think about that too, people. Yeah, we're talking a lot about the insurance stuff here, but make sure that you have enough coverage that if you're at fault and you hit, or what if you go out of control and go through the front door of somebody's house? Mm-hmm. And, you got to think about that. You can buy the cheapest insurance because the only reason I'm bringing this up is because you talked about you should have insurance, period, if you're on a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
But $50,000 total is not a lot. I just saw a Lambo the other day going through Richland, a bright yellow Lambo, and I'm thinking, man, if I hit that, I guarantee you, just T-boning is going to be a hell of a lot more than $50,000.
Was there a hot chick riding in it?
How much in a premium was that for you to go from the 2550 to the 100, 300?
I pay a total of $700 a year, but I do not have the medical that he has, so I don't know what it will raise to. But I have the 100, 300, and I have the coverage that covers. That also includes my passengers covered, but I'm not. It covers the bike and it covers all that. The only thing I don't have on there, I have the uninsured and underinsured, but the only thing I don't have is the medical premium.
Couple $100 a year, you can add that 20 or 10K.
And I'm insuring 2 bikes because I found out through Progressive that they charge you a big sum for the first bike, but they realize you can't be riding both bikes at the same time. So the adding the second bike was not actually that more expensive. A lot of people say, well, I can't afford to have 7 bikes as the insurance. I think it raised it a total of like $100 to add for the year to add the second bike because they realize you can't.
Yeah, and with your max out of pocket, it's probably not worth adding that medical insurance.
Yeah, I'm going to take another look. It probably won't be tomorrow because I'll be shoveling gravel.
I'm thinking about upping my coverage though from 25 to 50 to 100 to 300.
I did. I was at that 2550 threshold, and I literally, after my dad's accident, I was like, man, if I'm at fault, I mean,
right.
If you're in a motorcycle and you hit somebody at full speed, they're going to have some medical bills, and I guarantee it'll be over $50,000 by the time you do the medical, the repair to their stuff. If there's a second person in the car, I mean, that 25 is only $25,000 per person, $50,000 total.
Yep.
Per incident.
Plus, if they have a donkey in the back, you knock the donkey out onto the pavement.
And that donkey's going to be dead.
Bringing it back, Lurch.
What's the donkey's name?
Elmer.
No. Rick, all jokes aside, good stuff.
And he's going to have a hat. And he's going to have a hat like the one on Hee Haw.
Right, yeah.
He's going to have a straw hat with the ears poking out, just like on Hee Haw.
Dude, Rick's that's good information, Big Daddy. It sparks a lot of thoughts and a lot of conversation. It's kind of scary that been riding for so long. And I know there's some insurance guy out there, and we've been hit up by insurance companies before here at the podcast to do interviews. And I said, I'm not going to do an interview and promote your insurance company. You can possibly get a sponsorship package, if we believe in you, but they all kind of just, here, this particular episode, we don't have anybody that has a stake in the game.
Nobody's earning nothing off of this.
We are bikers that went out and did our own independent research, and this is what our agents are telling us, which is probably the real deal. But I know there's somebody out there listening, insurance agents or whoever, going, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. You know what, though? This is the information we got, and this is what we're relating to you. And somebody just...
Buddy farted.
Buddy. Well, he is known to do that. Not going to lie to you.
He rolled around and moved around, so...
Yeah,
Buddy's looking at you like...
He's an old man, dude.
He looks at you.
Let him be.
He's like...
He's an old man.
I'm the pimp, not you. This is my couch.
That's right. I'm the old man. Get out of my way. Get off my sofa. I am the old man. This is my studio.
He's asleep right now. He's
in here every night.
He's like, screw you guys.
So uninsured motorists, underinsured motorists,
Depends
like we
on
say,
your situation,
probably a $25K cap on the, whatever Brian called it, the alternative PIP. Equivalent PIP for motorcycle. Can you guys think of any other situations that you want to bring up that would be good scenarios? Now, I know Rick, he has some insurance background, which is nice. And I'm still, even after sitting down, it's a confusing thing. You think, we aren't in that industry. And so you have to go down and ask them. And that's the kind of questions I ask. Like, just be straight with your agent, guys. Like when I went in there, I don't need to talk all the, high points, talking points. Here's the deal. That's what I told him. If I go down and it's my fault and I have serious injuries, what am I covered? Yeah, you're fucked. Okay, that's what I want to hear. They're pretty much what they told me. I'm very close with my insurance. You're screwed, except for me because I have good employer insurance.
Right.
But those are the things I want to hear. If I hit somebody else, how much am I covered? And then we can get into, which we're not going to, but the additional coverages such as fire, like Rick, Big Daddy Kane, is storing one of the law-abiding biker bikes down in his shop. I have 2 up here. What if his shop burns down? I have fire and theft if Big Daddy gets it stolen or something like that. If he gets our bike stolen, leaves it out, whatever. Those are the kind of coverages. But more importantly, I think the high point of this episode is not that you're not injured and that's a shitty deal. Are you taken care of financially? Because your family, your kids, yes, Brian. Mic up, baby.
The only other suggestion I would have for people is not only check with your insurance agent and everything, but check with your insurance commissioner in your state
Very
as
good.
to what they require.
Yes, and that was the good tip up front that when I talked to the officer, now retired officer, is my agent said, he just needs to email the insurance commissioner because the city insurance is required to cover him. It's law, and there are laws. And yes, there are insurance companies that are less than credible.
And a lot of
not all of them, some of them, the ones Rick worked for, probably
pretty shady.
Pretty
a lot of the
shady.
information I found when I was doing some research for this podcast, the Washington Insurance Commission came up. So like when I was trying to figure out, is bodily injury insurance the same as personal injury protection?
Right. It's complicated for us people that aren't used to it.
Luckily in Washington State, the Insurance Commission has a pretty good website. Explain that
Yes.
and made me understand it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, did I put that link in here when I was giving you guys the show notes? I can't remember,
I'm
but
not sure if you did. Yeah, you do right there. Insurance.wa.gov.
yes, good. So LD, Law Dog here, and we'll close it out. He told me a personal story, and I actually talked to him on the phone because I wanted to make sure I had the story correct before I brought it to the podcast audience. But he, similar deal, but he was with his ex-wife, then his current wife, were on a trip. They were on their motorcycle, and LD went down.
Mm-hmm.
His fault with their trailer. Kind of trailer tried to pass them because somebody pulled out in front. And again, I don't remember the exact details, but that wasn't the purpose of our conversation. Nonetheless, I believe it was deemed his fault that they went down. His passenger, then his wife, she had some serious, I don't know if you guys have talked to LD about this. LD, she had some serious injuries. She ended up in ICU with some major medical issues from this particular. LD wasn't hurt that bad, but nonetheless, she was pretty seriously injured. And I don't think I put the details of the injuries in here, but he had mentioned it to me. So they weren't going to cover, of course, at fault, his fault, right? They're calling it at fault, and they're not going to cover him or his wife. So imagine the amount of bills going to ICU and that kind of stuff. So this is interesting. And this is the kind of stuff which we talked about insurance companies are not losing money and they will do anything they can to retain their money. And don't get me on a tangent, Lurch. I don't want to go on a tangent here. But basically what they did is they weren't going to cover her or LD. And so what they did, even though she was still married to him, she went and got a personal injury attorney. And the interesting thing is, because she was a passenger, they basically said, hey, she needs to be covered. LD said that they eventually decided to cover her. They asked him a lot of questions like, is there anything you could have done to minimize? And they asked him all kinds of questions. And some of the questions were like, did you check your tread depth every day? Like, you know what I mean? Like bikers do that, but this is the insurance industry. And LD's like, well, fuck no, I didn't check my tread depth. And so they found that LD, because he was at fault and he could have avoided and minimized the collision based on his actions, went ahead and covered her, stating that he was at fault. Basically, whatever insurance would kick in. I don't know if that's collision but it covers your passenger. And they settled with her, for a large amount. It should have been more, obviously, because she had some serious injuries that she sustained. But that's the kind of weird stuff that goes on. They ended up, because she threatened or inquired and said, hey, you should cover me. LD, is there anything? So they basically said, well, yeah, you were at fault because maybe you had improper tire tread depth and you didn't check it all the time. We find you at fault. So they're going to cover under another prong of the insurance. Is that, you guys tracking with that? Comprehensive. Yeah. They found another prong to cover her under, obviously, because they don't want the lawsuit, and that's what insurance companies do a lot, the fear of the lawsuit, and they'll just settle out quick. But that's how that story ended with LD, is that she ended up getting, even though she was his wife and a passenger, and they were both under the same insurance. This is what's weird. They ended up at first saying, we're not covering either. And then they ended up they didn't cover LD. Of course, he's city insured. He has employer insurance, but they ended up settling and paying her out as a passenger, finding her own husband at fault. And this is the kind of stuff that goes on, Brian.
That's part of the whole Trial Attorneys Association stuff and fighting these things. So
right, exactly. And apparently she did the right thing, and she was seriously injured. She got a large settlement, but when you're talking about medical bills, what's a large settlement? You know what I mean? In the long term, and how long you may have an ailment or something like that. Do you guys have anything else on this that you want to wrap up about PIP? All I can tell you guys is, please, we try to get the information out to you guys. This was a lot of prep, and I know Lurch and Rick has some experience, and Brian and everybody did their research, right? We literally called our insurance. I literally sat down on 3 different occasions over the past 2 months to try to get to the bottom of this, and it all came up because another biker asked me and told me of his situation. I was like, we need to. And then when I went and sat down, I was like, okay, that was a smack in the face. We need to get this out to the biker community. Like, this is serious shit, because I was not aware of this. And we started talking about it at club meetings, didn't we? Bringing it up. I know I had that conversation with Popeye, and just nobody really knew what kind of coverage they had and whether they were covered. So it's important, guys. And I know it's boring, and we want to ride our motorcycles, and we don't want to think about those types of things. But unfortunately, as we mentioned previously in this episode, it is a reality, because one of our beloved patrons and audience members had a deer jump out in front of him and got, I can't even imagine what his medical bills are, being over in Harborview and that kind of stuff, guys. And we just want to make sure that you're taken care of, and whatever you can do to be taken care of. Let's close it out with this. What do we got here?
Well,
I
know
ahead.
you're getting ready to close it out, but I just want to say, and I realize a lot of bikers out there, when they buy their bike, what do? They call their insurance agent and say, I just bought a new bike.
I did.
I need insurance cover for it. And your insurance agent says, oh, your rate is this.
Yep.
And you say, okay,
I'm covered.
And that's all you think about.
Guilty. Matt raising his hand. Guilty, because we got better things to think about, and we trust our insurance companies. And they may not disclose all that kind of stuff.
No, they're making money, and casinos are making money. So go figure that out.
They just want that monthly fee. And if you don't ask the questions, then, at the end of the day, although it pisses me off, that's your problem. If you're not going to educate yourself and ask your insurance company what's going on, and I've done it after many years of riding, realizing that I may be at risk. It will definitely change when I retire. I'll have to make some manipulations. Right now, I feel like I have 0 PIP with my insurance company for motorcycle, but I feel like, because my out of pocket is low enough for my regular employer provided insurance, that I am going to be somewhat taken care of, although you're still injured, but financially, my family is going to be okay. But if you're not, or you're retired like Brian, it may be something that you take a serious look at. All right. Any final thoughts on that before we close this out with a nice email? Okay, Lurch, do you want me to do this? I kind of know what it's about. Mitch Quarantes of Stockton, California.
Home of the Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, a lot of Stockton guys. Love those Stockton guys. After a thread of emails thanking us, this is what we ended up with. I have not got to ride for 9 days due to lots of rain. So this Saturday, I'm hosting a small maintenance class for people that would want to avoid paying big money at a dealership. He said, I said dealership. I will be using my bike for the demonstration and using Harley's 20K service recommendations. And I have already planned to use the law-abiding biker site in my presentation. I am by no means a Harley mechanic, but I am also not rich. We hear that. So I do what I can myself. I know I have saved some serious bucks from watching your videos, and they have given me the confidence as well. After I had some battery dying on me in the middle of nowhere, problems, and a $25,000 estimate, right? 2,500 estimate from a dealer. I went to the law-abiding biker site and figured out how to check the stator voltage regulator and battery. We know what episodes those are. Search our site. That's right. We did a great episode on regulators and batteries and stators. I changed out the stator for about $200 for all the parts and gasket, primary fluid and stator. And while I was in the primary, I changed out the chain tensioner. We have that free video too.
Nice.
He says, continues, and the seals. I got to see how things inside the primary worked, which I would not have got an understanding for if I sent it in for repairs. Again, your videos were one of the tools I used to fix my bike. If you make it down this way, let me know. I have some cool places to ride, and thanks for having the foresight to form Law-Abiding Biker. How about that shit right there? And that is one of hundreds and hundreds of emails we get that are very, very similar. We just simply cannot read them all, but that is the community.
That dude saved $2,300. That's awesome, man.
Because of Law-Abiding Biker.
Yeah.
That is our mission. That is our purpose. That is why we sit up here sweating our arses off after a long day filming all day to get videos out to you on YouTube. And lurching his stinky feet, he's putting up.
No, I got my shorts on, bro.
Oh, he's got his shorts on now.
Yeah, I brought some shorts over today.
We're up sweating our arses off in the Law-Abiding Biker studio because we don't have a separate AC unit up here. There's 4 guys, computers, and fans, and all kinds of shit running up here. But you know what? After a 14 to 16 hour day like we do for you guys, you know what? It makes it all worth it when you and all of us get an email like that right there from Mitch Guarantes.
Love it.
That is what makes us strive to continue to put in the long days and continue with the biker revolution. What should we do for our call to action here? What do you think? Somebody pick it.
Santa and IMC.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
We haven't done that in a long time.
Well, there you go.
Let her
I
rip.
like it.
Tater chip.
Don't forget,
we are an official Cena and IMC headset dealer. Law-Abiding Biker store. Get our Biker Boom wired 7-pin headset, the only wired headset we recommend. Fraction of the price of a headset with an HD logo stamped on it. Full, half, 3/4, and no helmet versions available. Full boombox integration. Also get all the popular Cena Bluetooth wireless headsets. And we have the FreeWire Bluetooth transmitter and receiver device for your boombox system, which is also a full boombox integration. I have it.
Big Daddy King
in the store is ready to hook you up. Check us out at lawabidingbiker.com/store. And I will tell you, I've been testing the FreeWire extensively, and it is badass.
Yeah, integrated with the boombox system. See that? I screwed it up, Lurch. But I wanted one more of these. If you hear that late at night,
run, Earl! Run, Earl, run!
You know, they're very possessive and they're very protective, so it's going to be like my guard animal.
It's like a relationship you build with them. Straight up, dude. We love you, Big Daddy. He is ready to ship that stuff to you guys. Whew. What a marathon day, guys. We're done. How's it feel? We did a live episode. Then we did this episode. Brian popped his cherry. 2 episodes in a row. Sounded good. Brian sounded good. Learning how to talk in the mic. That big boy voice. We appreciate it, Brian. You got a sexy voice. That's right. All right, guys. We are out of here. Thanks for listening. Keep the rubber side down.
And the shiny side up.
We're out of here, guys. Yeah, good episode, guys. Thanks for the hard work today. Lurch, one more for good measure. Sorry, I had to.